This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Jamie Glazov Moment. Tonight, Gorka's departure, a tragic indication of the Brotherhood's hold of the U.S. government. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had some very sad developments lately in terms of what's happening in the Trump administration and what it means in terms of our battle with jihad, in terms of our foreign policy, in terms of us trying to defend ourselves from Islamic terrorism. The heroic truth tellers about jihad are all being forced out of the Trump administration. And Gorka, one of the real noble heroes, a wise man that really was about true threat identification, a true threat assessment, which was crucial, is now also out of his left. And this is a very, very disturbing sign. And I wanted to spend a couple minutes this evening talking about what all of this means. So let's start at the beginning here. What is essential to bring up here is Stephen Coughlin's masterpiece, Catastrophic Failure. Now, in that book, Stephen Coughlin, more than anything, showed that the Muslim Brotherhood is in control of American foreign policy. This has actually happened. And, you know, there is no threat assessment. There is no legitimate threat assessment being conducted within the American government of what our threat is. We're not labeling our enemy. We're not being truthful about what inspires the people that are waging war on us, which is overall Islamic law. And that's what inspires and sanctions jihadis to do what they do. Now, the Brotherhood, in its documents that have been seized, the project, the explanatory memorandum, in all of these documents, they're discussing how they're waging a war from within, how their goal is to defeat our civilization, and how they're going to defeat America by our own hands. And ladies and gentlemen, this is happening right before our eyes. And so what has been happening is throughout the 8 years of the Obama administration, it allowed the infiltration of the government with the Muslim Brotherhood sympathizers, and they are entrenched in the government. And unfortunately, they're still entrenched, the sympathizers of the Muslim Brotherhood and everything that it wants, still entrenched in the government, and not just resisting Trump. And I want to stress here that the Glazov Gang and I myself, we love Trump. We support Trump. We know that Trump means well and wants to do the right thing, and we're happy that he's in office. But it's the people surrounding him now that's become a very serious problem, because the good people who wanted to make a threat assessment, who want to defeat the Muslim Brotherhood and their sympathizers and want to have a legitimate and concrete and effective foreign policy, have now been forced out. So I want to talk about exactly what's happened here. Because National Security Advisor McMaster, this is a tragedy, ladies and gentlemen. This is a longtime apologist for Islam. He's against the label radical Islamic terrorism. So he sees Islamic terrorism as un-Islamic. And this is a catastrophe, and it goes completely against everything Stephen Coughlin showed in Catastrophic Failure that needs to be done. Now, Gorka himself has stated that McMaster, even in his office, said to him that he sees people like ISIS and jihadis as criminals, period. And Gorka is the one that's stressing legitimately and wisely and with nobility that there has to be a threat assessment, and that our enemy needs to be called by what we need to call it. And in his view, yes, there's a debate whether it's Islam or radical Islam. This is another whole topic for another time. But Gorka very much argues that we have to define our enemy as radical Islamic terrorism. And he has pointed out that McMaster is against this because McMaster, the National Security Advisor, actually believes that our enemy is un-Islamic. This goes completely against all the evidence, which again shows that the jihadis are motivated and sanctioned by Islamic theology. So now this is what's happening, is the National Security Advisor is the one that's pursuing these policies and engaged in jihad denial, and also getting rid of all the good people, like Richard Higgins, who wrote a very important memo about how there's an agenda to remove Trump and his agenda, and there's also a movement by this unholy alliance between Islam and the left, that there's this agenda by the unholy alliance to continue this jihad denial and for America not to make a proper threat assessment. And Higgins was talking about the globalists and the Marxists and Islamists and how they're all working together to defeat America in this way. And this is somebody that's supposed to be influencing American policy, but unfortunately McMaster got rid of him, and McMaster has gotten rid of a lot of other loyalists, Trump loyalists, Bannon loyalists, Gorka loyalists, just good people that want to make a proper threat assessment. McMaster is getting and has gotten rid of almost all of them. And so now we have this disaster because Gorka was one of the few left standing in the Trump administration that supports very much making a proper threat assessment. And now Gorka is gone. And in his resignation letter, Gorka stressed in his letter to Trump that in the recent speech about Afghanistan, that all references to radical Islam had been taken out. And Gorka believes that this is a big mistake, and that America has to make a proper threat assessment, has to label this enemy, has to say this word. Something else very worrying now, when Gorka spoke the truth about that, and now in one way or another has had to leave Washington, has had to leave the administration. What happened after that? The Secretary of State Tillerson on Fox News with Chris Wallace said that Gorka is wrong in terms of the importance of naming the enemy radical Islam. So this is really bad, because now we have a Secretary of State and we have a National Security Advisor that are both stressing the un-Islamic nature of Islamic Jihad. And so this is very, very worrying that now the people that are surrounding Trump are jihad deniers and are taking Islam out of Islamic terrorism, which is a major mistake. And all the good people, the honorable people that wanted to tell the truth and were telling the truth and continue to tell the truth, people like Bannon, people like Higgins, people like Gorka, have been forced out. And so what do we end with? Well, I want to end with this. The Council of American Islamic Relations, CARE. This is a Muslim Brotherhood front group. They are an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land Foundation trial of 2007-2008. The evidence was found about their connection with Hamas, about their connection to terror. Okay, so we're dealing with a Muslim Brotherhood front group that is masquerading itself as some kind of civil rights organization here in the United States. But these are very bad people, and some of their leaders and members have even been charged and gone to jail for terror-related activities, etc., etc., etc. And what do we end with here? CARE praised the departure of Sebastian Gorka from the White House. So we've got the Muslim Brotherhood, its front groups, clapping that Gorka has left the White House. Imagine during the Cold War that the KGB is praising an American administration for the people that are leaving the White House who want to defend America from communism. And the people that are leaving, the KGB is clapping and praising the White House that this is happening. And this is why Sebastian Gorka said that he's going to add this to his resume in terms of CARE praising his departure, because CARE is an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest terror finance trial in U.S. history, the Holy Land Foundation trial of 2007-2008. Ladies and gentlemen, when you've got CARE praising the departure of a heroic individual from the White House, this is bad. It's very bad. All of our Glazov Gang viewers, please get involved. Reach out to Sebastian Gorka, find him on his website, find him on Twitter, support him, try to help him in any way you can. Continue to support people like Richard Higgins and Steve Bannon. Also support the David Horowitz Freedom Center, which is telling the truth about all this. Support Jihad Watch that Robert Spencer runs. DiscoverTheNetworks.org, run by John Perazzo. Front Page Magazine, Truth Revolt. Reach out and get involved and start making noise about this. that we need a good, solid team back surrounding the president rather than these jihad deniers that are just facilitating just an awful, awful scenario where America cannot make a proper threat assessment and therefore cannot properly and effectively defend itself against those who want to destroy us by our own hands. Thank you for watching the Jamie Glazov Moment this evening. Please remember we're a fan-generated program and our yearly crowdfunding is now here for us to try to keep the show going. And please, you're going to see a link on the bottom of the screen. If you support what we do, please click that link and help in any way you can. And I've got an incredible announcement for you this year. Don't get too excited. Maybe you'll have to lay down on a couch and just take deep breaths, because one of our contributors this year will win a lunch with the one and only Annie Cyrus. That's right, one of the prizes of helping the Glazov Gang. We'll see you soon. Good night.